Jonathan Van with the City of Hutchinson joining us because the Martin Luther King Jr. Day events have expanded quite a bit over what they have in previous years, and so we wanted to talk to him a little bit about this. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for having me today.
You bet. So this is going to start later this week, really, even before you get to the events on the weekend and then next Monday. So kind of just give us the overall schedule a little bit.
Absolutely. So this year we're starting MLK weekend on Friday, and we're beginning with a Money Mastery workshop on Friday called Money Mastery 101. And the purpose behind it is to make sure that we get as much financial information to the community as possible. That way we can increase opportunities for people, whether it's that you want to plan a family, sustain your family after you're gone, purchase life insurance, medical insurance, trust, annuities, all of that. If you want to buy a house, invest in rental properties, open a business or buy a business, whatever your desires and goals are with regard to finance, we've assembled a team of industry experts from Reno County that are going to come and present all of their information and their knowledge for 2 solid hours on Friday. Now, we understand that some people that could benefit from this workshop have children. So what we're doing also Friday evening is hosting a kids movie night that it coincides with Money Mastery Workshop. Okay. So there's something for the kids, something for the adults on Friday.
All right. Well, and one of the big pieces of that is that, and we've talked about this with multiple guests before, the largest wealth transfer potentially in the history of the United States is happening now because the older generation is coming to their retirement years and past and deciding what they're going to do with the next generation. So having those money tips to say, this is how we pass on what we've built to the next generation is so vital.
Absolutely. I feel very fortunate to come from a long lineage of entrepreneurs and business owners and philanthropists. And so we grew up in this kind of culture where, the conversation of money wasn't something that my parents had with me later on. That started when I was probably 5 or 6 years old. They didn't put me on their payroll, but they expected me to come to work and to help in the family business. And of course, they tack that on to your weekly allowance and whatnot. But it teaches you the value of money. But what I'm seeing in our culture now is that while there is this wealth transfer, there are entire generations that haven't been set up with wisdom and knowledge to make sure that they can handle the responsibilities of finance.
Right, and that's where these experts come in. So who are some of the folks that are going to be there?
We've got Ms. Glacia Thompson. She's coming Glacia Mendez from Heartland Community Credit Union. I've got Wyatt Faust that's coming. He's one of our financial experts. Who else? Carissa Paxton, who is our housing coordinator for the City of Hutchinson. I've got Guadalupe that's coming, representing Fry Insurance. And I know I'm forgetting 1 or 2 people, so please forgive me.
Yeah, that's okay. But the bottom line is, if you want to know how to navigate the financial world, these are some of the people that you can connect with. Even if maybe the lesson on Friday, you say, well, I already know that. Well, good for you if you do, first of all. But secondly, then you at least have that person that has you can connect with and say, hey, I heard you speak, and get better advice from them on a one-on-one basis later, too.
Absolutely. So we encourage people to take advantage of the workshops that are happening, but also plug in with them. They're going to open their schedule up, so make an appointment if you need to sit down to have some in-depth conversation and really craft a strategy for what's going to be best, not just for you, but your family's future.
Jonathan Van talking to us about the events going on connected with the Martin Luther King Jr. observance, and we talked about Friday night. Now we need to talk about Saturday, which is an opportunity once again for vendors to connect with the whole community. And so tell us a little bit about some of the folks that are going to be there.
Well, Saturday is our Lead the Change Summit. And Nick, I don't know if you can really sense this, but there's such a change that's happening here in Hutchinson, Reno County. It's like the landscape of leadership has just shifted and society wants to go with it. And so what we want to do is to craft a workshop that's really centered around engagement and community empowerment that dials down the responsibility to the individual. What is my contribution to making sure that my community reflects the heart of community? So we have empowerment workshops for men, women, boys, and girls. There are 4 breakouts that are going to happen. Begins at 11 a.m., runs till about 2 p.m. Now, we're also adding a vendor fair. So if you are a person that crafts, if you are a baker, if you sew, or whatever you do, there's no registration fees, but we do want to make sure that we have a conversation prior to Saturday's event. So you can reach out to me at City Hall at the Human Relations Office or send me an email. But for all vendors, it's open. And we're encouraging as many people as possible to plug in. You'll have vending time on both Saturday and during Sunday's celebration.
Okay, so Saturday has those individual workshops, and the idea is that community really does take everybody. And I know that's cliche, but it's true too.
Yes, yes.
And so that's part of what Saturday's events are about. Then the traditional Sunday events are happening as well. And so what's the schedule for Sunday once again?
So the community celebration begins at 2 p.m., but we've added another component. We're going to host, another component. We're going to host a gospel concert that begins at 3:30.
Okay, and we've had some messages about the gospel choirs, both from the youth side and the adult side. They've been doing some rehearsing here this month, and so it's going to be great to get a chance to hear a little bit of that on Sunday as well. And that's something where the community has an opportunity to get together, and there's just something about when people come together and make art.
Yes,
I don't quite know how to put that better into words than I just did.
It's almost like there's this synergistic feeling where you have all of these creative types that are bringing their energies and efforts and skills and abilities, and we all just converge on this one location and we create things. Music is a type of tapestry, if you will. And so every voice that contributes or every instrument that's played builds that tapestry. So I think Sunday's going to be an incredible display of musicality, not just vocally, but artistically as well. I'm so incredibly excited to hear this children's choir.
Yeah, it'll be a whole lot of fun. That much is for sure. And so then Monday is the Unity Project. And so explain a little bit about what that's going to look like.
Yeah, so this is a collaborative effort with the Human Relations Office as well as Hutchinson NAACP, Hutch Community College, and the United Way of Reno County, plus local health department. And what we're going to be doing on Monday is crafting care packages that will be distributed later on in the week going to our unhoused population. At the same time, we're also using this time of gathering as an open community forum where we're engaging different generations about topics and developments that we want to see happen here in Hutchinson and Reno County. So it is open to everyone. There is lunch. Lunch is going to be served towards the end of the event, but it's a time of building, but also connecting.
Okay, so if people want to find out more, is the easiest way just to contact you at the city, or what's the best way? Just
Absolutely.
show up?
It is free and open all weekend long. If you need information or you want to sign up as a vendor, you can contact me at the Human Relations Office, 620-694-2608. We also have an event that's circulating around on Facebook, so you can use that avenue as well.
All right, and just the Human Relations Office with the City of Hutchinson, explain what this is part of what you do, is to help connect the community together for events like this. But what do you see your role as with the city and specifically within the structure of letting people know what's available to them?
So the Human Relations Officer investigates claims of discrimination with regard to housing, employment, and community resources, and we advocate for our citizens here locally. Now, the other half of my job description is that I am a project manager, and so it's building programs, events, and projects that are indicative of plans that our city council has put into place, but also developments coming from a grassroots perspective. It's kind of like the melting pot for city government as well as the nonprofit sector.
All right. And you mentioned Carissa Paxton from the housing portion of the city, and I want to touch just briefly on what the housing study may mean to to making sure that Hutch is and continues to be a place where people can grow from the beginning of their career to now and on forward. And that's something that I know the city as a whole is trying to get done. So what's the role of the Human Relations Office in saying, hey, these are some programs you can access to be able to afford to either move up in-house or do something as you approach retirement, because they talked about the need for that 55-plus housing and so on. What's the end game there to try to help the entire community to grow as the opportunities grow with housing here in the community?
Well, we understand that there is a housing crisis currently. And the only way that we're going to alleviate that crisis is if we actually put in the work to make sure that we leverage opportunities for people that normally would be disqualified. And so Friday's event, for instance, Money Mastery, becomes the beginnings of this entire process. So Carissa and I are working together on a couple of projects as well as some of the other partners in the city. But what we really want to do is to make sure that people can build a legacy. And of course, if you understand anything about finance, you know that real estate investments is one of the easiest ways to begin to build wealth. And so imagine what happens if we're able to craft programs around people that may have certain financial deficiencies. What if we actually stop and say, hey, what can we change to make sure that we can get people to the table, and then we'll get them qualified? I think if we take care of that portion of the problem, which is a responsibility that I'm taking ownership of, then we can really begin to make some movement. So I'm excited to see all of these developments that are happening around the city and the county, not just this year, but even for the next 7 to 10 years.